Hello and welcome to Math 9. This is Mrs. Clausen, and this is our lesson on the introduction to rational numbers. So keeping in mind that a rational number is a fancy word for a fraction or any number that can be written as a fraction. So it also includes decimals, and we'll talk about what kind of decimals those are. Fractions and decimals are used when you want to represent a part of a whole. A fraction consists of a numerator and a denominator with a line in between. There's a typo there. The numerator is the top number. The denominator is the bottom number. The numerator represents how many pieces are being in question. So in this one, I've got a numerator of 1, and you can see that I have one piece filled in my pie. The denominator represents the total number of pieces. So if you count up those total number of pieces, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total pieces. So my fraction is 1/7. Okay, when we're drawing pictures, it's important that we remember that my pieces have to be equal. Okay, so if I'm drawing a picture of 1/3, a couple ways you can do that. I think the most common way is to draw kind of a box or a rectangle, and you don't need to get out the ruler and measure, but I do want you to kind of try to make them look about equal. So I could show 1/3 like that, and I would shade in one of those 3 pieces. Okay, 0.75. So this is one of the decimals that you should know. So on the chart on the side here, I have some common decimals that you should know about. So you should hopefully know that a half is 0.5, and the 0.25 and 0.75, I always remember because if I have 25 cents, I have a quarter, like somebody would give me 25 cents a quarter. So it's a quarter, and 75 cents is 3/4. 0.1 is a good one to know because it's 1/10, and that way then I would know that, say, like if I have 0.6, that would be 6/10. Also very common are 0.3 repeating, which is 1/3, and 0.6 repeating, which is 2/3. Okay, so if I have 0.75 and I ask you to draw a picture of that, the easiest way is to remember that that is the same as 3/4. So I'm going to create some kind of a shape where I can have 4 equal pieces. Maybe I'm going to draw a box or a pie, and I'm going to shade in 3 of them. Okay, so that's representing fractions pictorially. The second part of this we want to talk about is comparing fractions. So greater than, the symbols greater than, less than, and equal to can be used when we're talking about these comparisons. So if I read this guy down here, it says 2 is less than 3. This says 5 is greater than 1. So let's compare a fraction. So when the numerators when the denominators are the same, such as in this first example, then these guys are pretty easy to compare, because if I had 9 pieces and let's say I had a pie cut into 9 pieces and I had 3, or a pie cut into 9 pieces and I had 7, well, clearly the 7 is larger than the 3. So that one's pretty easy when the denominators are the same. So the way that I remember it is, the way to put the symbol is on this symbol, there is a big end of the symbol and a small end of the symbol. So the big side goes towards 7/9 and the small side goes towards 3/9. When we're reading this, this is the less than symbol. Kind of looks like an L for less than. So you say 3/9 is less than 7/9. Now, 2/5 and 3/10. So I can't compare those ones right now as they are, because they do not have the same denominators. This is in fifths, this is in tenths. So some of you may already know how to create equivalent fractions so that they have the same denominator, and you can go ahead and do that. Or you could also take your calculator and remember that this symbol right here means divide. So if I go 2 divided by 5, the calculator gives me 0.4. And if I say 3 divided by 10, it's 0.3. So I know that 0.4 is larger than 0.3, so 2/5 is larger than 3/10. All right, let's look at this last one here. So it is 2/3 and a half. So again, if we're converting them into fractions, 2/3 is 0.666 repeating, and a half is 0.5. Keeping in mind that if you want to compare these as if they were like whole numbers, thinking 666, you need to have the same number of decimal places. So think of that one as 0.500. So it's 666 and 500. If you were one of the ones who are doing common denominators, you might be making this 4/6 and this 3/6. Either way, I can see that 2/3 is greater than 1/2. Okay, I want you to go ahead and do the practice questions or the task cards, and then you can complete the checkpoint